AskReddit. Parents of Reddit. How do you feel when your kid brings back a girlfriend or a boyfriend? How do you decide whether you like them or not? Part 2. I have always instinctively known within seconds of meeting them. I've liked all but one of my son's partners, and the one I didn't feel right about was the one who screwed him up. My dad's the same way, but he never told me. After breaking off a 2.5-year relationship and a year of being single, I finally met my current girlfriend. Only then, my dad casually mentioned he saw red flags early on for all the crap that broke me and my ex up. If he had said that, you may not have believed him, and there you could have alienated him. Sometimes you gotta let the flow to take its course in life so that you learn them in the right way. I'm not a parent, but my girlfriend's father hates me for some reason. It's been 1.5 years already. It's gotten better since then, though, but still. Same, my dad hates my boyfriend. The only reason is because I make more money than he does. We've never had a fight. Our personalities mesh very well, and it's the best relationship I have ever been in. It makes no sense, and there is no reason, but after 3 years, it hasn't changed. Not a mother, but I'm a sister to a lovely brother. He had brought some girls to the house in his teenage years, and instantly I would know if I liked them or not. The first one he brought was super rude with me and my parents. She would eat alone in the bedroom when we were having dinner, force my brother to be mean to me, etc. Few months after the relationship ended in a really bad way. After that, brought some girl, didn't talk so much with them, but they were nice and sweet. It didn't last long, less than 2 months. The last one he brought, when I talked to her, just one thought came to mind. She's the one. 5 or 6 years later, here they are, living together. I've given my daughter the best advice that I can give her, and she's leaps and bounds better at relationships than a lot of older adults I know. She's nearly drinking age where we're from. That's not to brag though, as a lot of what I told her was don't do the dumb that I did. Well, that and to always know her worth. The moment someone makes her feel less important than they are, they get the boot. She doesn't try to fix people she dates. You are who you are, and if you're not right, then oh well. A direct quote. Honestly, it's something she said to me once that helped me be better off when dating. I'm married now. I'd made the remark that I hadn't understood some sappy things people do when they're in love. She looked me dead in the eyes and said, "That's because you've loved, but never been in love." She wasn't wrong, and as much as I sometimes hate to admit it, she really is. That caused me to examine the relationship I was in under closer scrutiny than I had ever had before. My husband today is the most amazing husband and father we could have asked for, but never realized until now that we deserved. That's because you've loved, but never been in love. Not many things strike a chord with me as much as this does. In high school, I just got into relationships because that's what you did. And I guess I enjoyed the steps up until actually being in the relationship. I think it referred to as the chase. Needless to say, my longest of 7 relationships was 4 months, and I've been single ever since the last one 3 years ago. I'm only 20, and I know it'll change, but it just doesn't feel like there's any girl out there I could actually fall in love with that will also love me back. I've loved before, and I've been loved by a lot, but it's always mutually exclusive for me. Not a parent, so I called my mom. She stated, and I quote, "I like all of them, until they give me a reason not to. Then I never tell you whether I like them or not, so I don't influence your own judgment. I cannot choose for you, although sometimes I wish I could." It's about respect. If she treats him right, and compatibility. On the other end, not her dad, but my girlfriend's roommate is this old grizzled Marine dude. She told me that he liked me because I didn't try to get him to like me, which apparently most people do. I was just myself and acted naturally, which he appreciated. Just be yourself, and the people that will like you, and the people who won't. But always be respectful. My stepdaughter's boyfriend came into my house and we were talking about computer games, and he had the audacity to tell me why Red Dead 2 was better than God of War in my house. But respect to the lad for that. He stuck to his principles, and a year later still argues with me about gaming stuff. You should have started calling him a boy in your best Kratos voice. Nothing asserts dominance like a good Kratos impression. Careful, he might come back with a brush and go, "Hey boy, easy boy," and the like. If he brings a saddle, just give up. My eldest is 15, and boys in high school can be gross. The way they speak to girls and girls to boys is just so far out of line it makes me ill. But her boyfriend is respectful to her and her family. Most importantly, they're the same brand of weird. They FaceTime 19 hours a day, I swear. But yesterday they had an entire conversation about penguins, both using the same weird fake Russian type accent. He's her safe place, and without very good cause, I never get in the way of that. They're fellow comrades. Well, they've all been fine so far, except for one. It's the only time I've ever gotten mad enough to kick someone out of my home. He tried to get me to believe that he didn't know what a potato was. Here's my dad's take. He liked my ex-boyfriend at first because he was initially polite and friendly, and I was very happy with him. However, my dad started to notice red flags later on, and his opinion of him changed. For example, when he came back to my place from a day trip, he had sulked because I didn't show the enthusiasm he wanted about his favorite landmark. My dad told him that he should forgive me, but he still would not stop whining. My dad later told me that his reaction was blown out of proportion. Basically, my dad would decide whether or not to like any guy I bring home based on the way he treats me. Sounds similar to my dad, except the first red flag was a little more obvious. Lol. I was with my ex for 5-ish years, and at first my entire family adored him, but toward the end of our relationship, he started to change. I worked in a retail store back during the recession, and sure, I hated working there, but there weren't exactly other options. My ex didn't like me working there either because it wasn't a real job, that he was embarrassed to tell people I worked there and told me that if I didn't quit, he'd leave me. Keep in mind that he had no job at this time. That was the closest my dad ever came to nearly punching someone in the face for me. Lol. I love to meet his girlfriends. In a very self-serving way, I think his ability to attract charming ladies reflects the quality of my parenting. On one hand, I like whoever brings joy to his life. On the other hand, I prefer to be around polite and well-spoken people. A bit of nervousness on her part indicates that meeting me is important to her. My wife is 3 years older than me. It's not a big deal now that I'm 30, but when I was 17 and a junior in high school, a 20-year-old was something that my, at times, overprotective mother wasn't super amped about. She told me later that before my wife came to dinner for the first time, she asked my dad, "What does some 20-year-old hussy want with my baby?" Well, my wife is a very small woman with an amazing smile and was shaking like a dog laser blades when she met my parents. When she flashed my mom a very obviously nervous "hello" smile, my mom melted and mouthed to my dad, "I like her." Not a parent, but my parents have talked about my boyfriends. They liked most of them, but my dad said there was one he specifically didn't like right away. I dated that guy for over a year before he cheated on me with his ex and left me for her. My dad said he didn't like that guy because he reminded him of his ex-wife who did the same thing to him. Some people just have good gut instincts and experience. I said, "Whatever you do to my daughter, I will do to you." I've been stuck giving him emotional support and validation for 3 years. He played you like a fiddle. Well, my mother's decision is 90% based on if she's Catholic or not. I can't say I'm a fan of her method. Lol, same here. Going to be a rough one when she meets my family and mom's like, "Nah." I'm going to support my girl the whole way through though. Easy decision. You know, I thought my mother would be the same way. Raised Catholic, so I expected that my wife would need to be Catholic too. Just got married to my Muslim wife last month, and my mom threw her a bridal shower because she loves her more than she loves me. And because the feeling was definitely not reciprocated by my wife's family. People suck. I am nice to my son's girlfriend and my daughter's boyfriend. It's not my job to have an opinion on who they choose. If it all goes belly up, I'm there to support them until the next one goes wrong. Rinse and repeat until they find their one, or I'm dead. I've been a hated boyfriend for no reason. It really sucks and affects the relationship. My ex makes no secret of her opinions on the kids' partners. The only thing that does is stops them talking to her about issues they have in their relationships. Yeah, I had a long time relationship where I had to basically court the parents, or I couldn't see their daughter. Couldn't even be alone around her. I tried so hard, and the mom still treated me like an idiot all the time. I would be so anxious around her and them because of it, and it made it hard to act normal. Over time, I saw it bleed into how she thought of me and started describing me and talking to me the way her mom would, and it hurt so bad. They took every chance to laugh at me and make me feel like a clumsy, absent-minded idiot. It didn't help that I already had a super low self-esteem. Would have been nice if they could have appreciated all of the effort I was putting into making them happy because I loved her. Especially considering we were both over 18 and very few people would put up with being treated like high schoolers in a relationship to be with someone. But I guess I was never going to be good enough for them or her. When I started to fold under all the pressure, I got made out to be the piece of crap who wasn't putting enough into the relationship anymore. It's about respect. If they're treating my kid, spouse, or myself like crap in our own home, how do you think I'll feel? Some politeness goes a long way, and of course it's a two-way street. Chances are you'll also know your kids well enough to notice if this person is a total 180 from their usual friends or previous SO or whatever. Sometimes a red flag, but not always. You've likely had experience with them bringing over someone from the wrong crowd, and this is honestly not that different. It's all about how you see them treat others, but since they're probably teenagers, you can't read too much into things like what they want to do when they grow up, and so on. I'd hope by your 40s or whatever, you'd know enough about how to tell if someone's head is screwed on properly or not. It's still important to let them explore and learn the odd rough lesson on their own. You constantly weighing in on how much you disapprove of their SO only drives them further to them. Although, you don't want to be too late to interfere if things are getting a little too out of control. Like that dad who killed his daughter's boyfriend for getting her into hard drugs and ruining her life. Don't let it get there. At the end of the day, no one can get them to break up except themselves. They have to learn what's best for them and figure it out on their own. Don't meddle too much. Not a parent, but an older brother of two sisters. Respect is huge, but for me, it's also about generally being engaged in whatever we're doing. My sister drags you to hang out with us, you better bring it and at least fake having a good time. Try going out of the way to get to know us. Surely my sis told you we are a super close family?